Running while Black, I find myself crossing the street from side to side because I see a group of men. I try to avoid the catcalls, and I find myself standing on the corner, stretching so people know I'm actually a runner. I've had people walk up to me and go, "What are you doing?" As if I need to give an explanation to why I'm just running down a street. When I started running here in New York City, the first thing I did was want to find a group, something that I felt like was a safe space, somewhere I belonged in. And I went up to people and said, "Do you know anybody who's Latino? Do you know any running groups that do this?" And the answer was no. So I went home and I started Googling. I was trying to find a group that catered to women specifically. I couldn't find anything that catered to my Latino community, but I kept being told that there is a Black Girls Run group, and I would join them every week, and it was the first time finding people that looked like me, finding people that ran the same pace as me, and also finding a group of women that didn't leave me behind, and I fell in love with that sense of community. After running with Black Girls Run for some time, I still felt like something was missing within myself, and I really wanted to still connect with my Latino heritage community. So finding Black Girls Run definitely gave me the courage to actually start my own club for Latinas.
Latinas Run! Woo!
Being able to find other women who necessarily weren't Black. Some of them were, some of them weren't, but we shared the same heritage, the same culture.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's a lot of confusion when it comes to being what Afro-Latina is. Being Afro-Latina does not mean that I'm not Black. It means I am Black, but I'm also of Latin heritage. And when people think about Latinos, they think it's just a race. It's not a race. Being Latino is not a race. It's a culture. It's an ethnicity from where we come from. And Latin Americans are Black. They are Asian. They are white. And many of them are indigenous. And I think the confusion lies in between people thinking that I can't be Black and also Latina. I'm both.
Latinas Run! All right, guys, so I am out today doing a run from my hotel all the way here to the border. So right behind me is Idaho. And if you see on the other side, that is the border of Washington.
A couple years ago, I started traveling across the country and kind of exploring and finding places. My goal was to run in all 50 states. And it's really like being an explorer on a new mission to discover a land that many people in my community have never been to.
Absolutely beautiful. Mirror Lake, Yosemite National Park.
As I started traveling the country, I learned more about Black history than I had ever imagined in my life, in very historical Black places. I would stop off in the Edmund Pettus Bridge and run across it and meet Black people there and have conversations about Black history. I would find myself in Topeka, Kansas, and learn about Brown versus the Board of Education. And going into those spaces, you learn so much about education in this country, how much is not taught to us. And it became even more of a love of running because I got to see things that a lot of people who you think would learn that in school would never know. And I would find myself sometimes driving after I leave a place, trying for hours, thinking, how come I never learned this history? And understanding how dangerous it was many years ago and how that's still kind of that progression still happens today. We still see those dangers.
Keep your head up, never let it hang down. When you stand up, stand up. Make sure that you stand ground. Never worry what they say. Just keep doing your thing. I'm gonna be okay. Yeah.
You know, one of the things I always say is we emulate what we see. And when we see people that look like us, we obviously want to know about it. We want to get involved. A couple months after I had launched Latinos Run, my first group, before Latinas Run, I was put on an interview at a news station. And one of the comments that kept repeating in my mind is what the newscaster said. 10% of people in amateur races are people of color. Latinos represent 5% of that.
Latinas Run!
Obviously, there's a problem. When you look at the numbers within this country, we obviously represent more than 5%. So my goal, my hope, is to see running be a representation of the country.
Gotta keep your head up. Hey.